שלום ותודה שהצטרפתם לאולפן ישראל היום. טומי לאhren, מגישת החדשות האמריקאית, הפכה לכוכבת רשת עם מיליוני צפיות בזכות הוידאו בו העבירה ביקורת חריפה על הנשיא אובמה וההתנהלות הרופסת של ארצות הברית מול הטרור. בואו נזכר.
I care that our commander-in-chief is more concerned with Muslim sensitivity than the honor and sacrifice made by these Marines. I've had it with this failed strategy, this halfway, half-baked, tiptoe, be friendly to jihadis mentality pushed by this administration. But I'm done talking about President Obama because he, quite frankly, doesn't deserve the airtime.
Hello, Tomi, and thank you for this interview.
Thank you so much for having me.
You've become an internet sensation after your first segment on One America Network. Do you think it's because people are not used to seeing a young woman being strong on TV? Or maybe because you said something that people won't usually hear a news anchor say?
I think it's a combination of both. One, the things that I was saying came from the heart, but they aren't things that you would probably expect from, at that time, a 22-year-old young blonde girl sitting at a desk. You don't expect that kind of passion, that kind of even anger and frustration to come out of someone's mouth like my own. So at first I think it shocked people and it got people's attention. And then as I started to listen, I think it resonated because so many of us here in the United States and all around the world, to be honest, can see it for what it is. And we understand that there's a problem that's not being addressed. We understand that the leadership in the United States is lacking, and it breaks our hearts, especially when it comes to our service members. And that's something that's very important to me. So I think what I said, it came across as honest, and I didn't do it to get the reaction that I got. I did it because it was from the heart. And I think people can tell when you're being genuine.
Yeah, and you also live in a very politically correct country.
Absolutely. And, I always say political correctness is intellectual dishonesty. We can't talk about the issues, we can't have solutions, and we can't correct the misguidance of this country if we aren't allowed to have that conversation. And when you hold back, when you don't say what needs to be said, that conversation, that dialogue can never happen. So that political correctness is really hampering our ability to make the positive changes that need to happen right now before it's too late.
And how did your life change after your notable performance?
Well, I can tell you that it changed in that I have more attention and I have more people, more of an audience, but my message is still the same. I haven't changed. I still speak from the heart. I don't do what I do for fame or for money. I do it because I speak from my heart and I'm genuine, and I think that there are things that people need to hear, and if I have to be the one to say it, then I will wear that badge with honor.
So you refer to the Obama administrations as halfway, half-baked, tiptoe, be friendly to jihadist mentality, and called for a real leadership. With the 2016 presidential elections coming up, who could be a good leader?
Last week we saw on the stage, we saw 17 fantastic candidates, I think all of which could potentially become the next president of the United States and our next commander-in-chief. I think all of them have the potential with the right guidance, and it's all about who you choose in your cabinet. It's all about your advisors. You need someone that not only has the foresight to be able to make a strategy, but someone that's also able to listen, and that's what's most important. I see a lot of promise in the Republican Party right now. I really like what I'm hearing from folks like Scott Walker. I'm also a very big fan of Senator Marco Rubio because I think he's our best opportunity to take on a Hillary Clinton. But I will just say, what terrifies me is not only that the leadership I'm seeing from the Obama administration, but the fear that I have that will be continued and also worsened if we have a Hillary Clinton as our commander-in-chief. That keeps me awake at night, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that that doesn't happen. And all you have to look to is what happened in the terrorist attacks in Benghazi. And that's what we have to look forward to if we have Hillary Clinton as our commander-in-chief, and I don't want to see that happen.
Yes, Americans are very skeptical about the deal with Iran, and in Israel, public opinion is strongly against the deal. But President Obama is determined to push it through Congress. What is your take on the situation?
I think President Obama is setting up a false choice narrative. By that I mean he's telling Americans in this country who are very weary of war and don't want to go to war, because most people, the reality of war is not a pretty thing, and we're skittish because of the long wars that we've endured in the Middle East. So he's playing into that fear, and he's telling people that unless you take a bad deal, you're going to have war. But what he doesn't understand is that some of us are smarter than that, and we understand that by accepting this deal, which is really a list of concessions more so than it is a deal, what we're doing is we're paving the way for Iran to get nuclear weapons in the very near future. And then within the next year and a half, 2 years, we're allowing for mass instability in the Middle East. And at the center of it all is Israel, who have been our allies from the beginning. And we're abandoning them, and we're abandoning their fears. And we're allowing Iran to take control of that region. And I've said it before, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's ISIS, it doesn't matter if it's Hezbollah, Hamas, or any of the other terrorist networks. They are all on the same team. They all have the same goal. So we need to be very careful with who we're supporting, who we're arming, and we also need to make sure that we're standing behind the allies that we have in the region, and that is Israel.
Yes, just recently you've celebrated 23 and already managed to reach the hearts of millions around the world. What's next? How do you see your future in the media?
I always say when we make plans, God laughs, because it's all what he has in store for me. I'm excited. All I know is that I have a voice and I have a lot more to say. This is just the beginning, and I will continue to do it, being humble, being grounded, thinking with common sense, and everything that I say will always come from the heart. Wherever that takes me, I'm not sure yet, but I can guarantee you haven't heard the last of me. I've got so much more to say.
Tomi Lahren, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you so much. It was great to be here.
ותודה לכם שצפיתם באתר ישראל היום. נמשיך לעדכן בכל עת.